Welcome, my friends. Today is the 8th of October, and we're here at our Project Leadership Institute weekend. It's always a pleasure, huge pleasure to have you folks here. I get excited, I get inspired, I get motivated when I hear your stories and where you're at. And I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page as far as what is near and dear to our vision at PLI. So one of our major visions at PLI is helping you to craft your vision. The last week, we heard John talk to us about how to be a real success. He started off by talking about success. And you might remember the KGS. You might remember, does anyone remember what the KGS formula means when I told you I have a perspective to success, which is based on John's formula, but I call it KGS. Does anyone remember the KGS formula? All right, let's see if we can do this. 3 dimensions. This is a great test for your definite chief aim in life. Whatever you want to achieve in life, just remember what success is predicated on. It's predicated on 3 things. What does the K stand for? Who remembers? Here it is.
Knowledge.
It's actually knowing, but knowing what? Who remembers what we need to know? Knowing
What you want, no? What you want to...
your purpose in life. Yeah. So some people say, I want to be a doctor. Some people say, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a musician. I remember when I was 6, in the yearbook for that year, how old was I? Maybe 10. Yeah, 10. I was in 6th grade. I wrote, there are many professions in life, but the one I want to be is a musician. I hadn't even learned how to play the keyboard at that time, which is now my major instrument. My parents were trying to get me lessons. Nothing panned out, but I had a great ear for music. But right from an early age, I knew that I wanted to be a musician. I didn't have enough training or equipment, but it was a knowing I had. Some of us have a dream that ends up not really amounting to much, not because of our fault, but just because the way things lined up didn't give us that opportunity. But I keep telling people, if that's your dream, nothing should stop you from doing it, Like the KFC guy, at the age of 60 what? Did he find out his purpose? How old was that guy? It was like 60 something. That's old. That's old but it's not too old to live it. You know what I mean? There's someone who discovered all he wanted to do was not be the CEO of one of the biggest companies. You'll be amazed at what this guy wanted to do as his purpose. He wanted a hot dog stand because he loves to meet people, and he just wanted to stay at a corner, meeting people at the confluence of very busy roads and serving them hot dogs. And that's all he wanted. But he discovered at the age of like 70s that this is what he wanted to do, like really late. So it's not too late to chase your dream. Someone will say, oh, 60, 70, that's no. Truth be told, over the past 8 months, I have had 2 70-year-olds come through my training, pass the exam, kill the exam, when people in their 30s and 20s are, oh, it's too hard, I can't. These 70-year-olds are killing it. And they were one of the first to get certified in their classes, just relentless. One of them, his name is Bassi, the other, her name is Vicky. And you might have seen an interview I had with Vicky on our channel. She studied for about 6 months, nonstop, but really knuckled down. And now so knowing your purpose in life is huge, right? That's number one. I often tell people, if you are not able to pinpoint what exactly, start off from where you are. What are you right now? I'm a mom. Okay, start off being the best mom ever. What are you? I'm a dad. Be the best dad ever. What are you? I'm a teacher. Okay, start from there. Don't try to build the Empire State Building. Just start from where you are. And the next one is growing to your maximum potential. A friend of mine who I spoke to yesterday said, a lot of people can buy the biggest Gucci bag, paraphrasing, but they cannot spend money on growing themselves one tiny little sliver. They can't. No. But if you took them to the most expensive restaurants, they have no problem eating huge bills, but they cannot grow themselves. So the lesson to be learned is growing to your maximum potential is so important, you know. And that friend I'm talking about is Edward. He's laughing because he knows I'm quoting him indirectly. But Edward, you also told me when we spoke yesterday that LeBron spends what, like 3% of his earnings yearly. Let's calculate that 3%. This guy makes hundreds of millions. So this guy's spending like millions of dollars growing himself, right? Edward, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so LeBron, it was his agent, but his best friend put a quote out and said that LeBron invests 3.4 to 3.5% of his annual salary each year in himself, which, you know, it illustrates of why he is where he is. Besides, because a lot of times what it tends to happen is we'll have a reason to fall on our talents, you know, the gifts that, you know, we've been blessed with. But LeBron, yes, he's gifted, but he's also put in the work and hired the right coaches and went to the right programs and invested in himself.
Thank you for that, Edward. I mean, it just totally underscores that. So knowing your purpose in life, growing to your maximum potential is big. And I've heard so many other greats in that same token speak about this over and over again. So we look at the likes of Shaquille O'Neal. We look at the likes of Magic. We don't know these folks have big investments in other things. It's not just sports. Magic is a crazily successful businessman with strings and strings of businesses. But to get to that point, I'm telling you, he had coaches and he grew to his maximum potential. We need to do the same. And that's why you're here. You know, that's why you're showing up so that we can grow. So that, you know, John says everything rises and falls on leadership. So once your leadership base is solid, you're in the right direction, which is why I'm really excited that you're here developing along with me. The final one, which honestly needs intentionality a lot of times, is sowing seeds that benefit others. Knowing your purpose in life, growing to your maximum potential, and sowing seeds that benefit others. So John hasn't framed it as colorfully. You know, we as project managers, we got to formularize and three-dimensionalize everything. So I have KGS. And honestly, when I visualize this, I see these 3 dimensions presented like this. So we've got this cube, and my desire at all times for that time period I'm in, so this is the K dimension, it's knowing, and knowing is going in this direction. It almost reminds you of the stakeholder cube. And then we have the G dimension going this way. And last but not least, we have the one coming out at you, the Z dimension, and that's the Z dimension, and this is the sowing of seeds. And the question is, am I to the max in all these 3? In other words, if you were really at the max of knowing, you'll be all the way up. If you were really at the max of sowing, you'll be all the way out, and you'll be all the way to the right. So you'll be right here. And the question is, can I maintain this position? Am I in this position? All right. Some of us move around. I move around. Sometimes I need more intentionality. I ask the question, what have I done for person X, Y, or Z lately? I realize I'm not sowing enough, because sowing seeds that benefit others is a selfless perspective to your vision and asking the question, how can this vision enrich, equip, empower, and transform lives? And if it's just about me, that might be a temporary vision. It needs to grow. So vision and direction are really important to us at the Project Leadership Institute, because getting PMP certified is just the beginning. A lot of people get certified and think they're the king of the hill. No, it's just the beginning. So how do you take it to the next level? By asking, what is my purpose? Southwest say we're in the customer service business. We happen to fly airplanes. Wow. It just shows you where their heart is, right? your people, and when I say your people, I'm talking about people around you, they got to know your vision and goals. If they don't know your vision and goals, then it's about time you start letting them know, right? Why is that? Now, if you have a team of people working with you, or you have family members working with you, if people know your vision, right, they can help you get there. If people know the vision, they can get there. If they don't know the vision, you know, the good book says where there's no vision, what happens? The people perish. So there's got to be a vision. And then you got to have a picture of the future. My goodness, have a picture for the future. Just know where you're going to end up. Know it before you start. You got to know it. You got to see it. If you cannot see it, how are you going to convince others? Another overarching thing that helps drive vision and helps drive your behavior is asking, what are my values? And knowing your values helps. Let me give you an example of values. So Southwest, they have an idea of values of safety. And they say being a warrior, not worrying, but a warrior, like fighting, a warrior spirit. And when you have a warrior spirit, it's going to drive you. When you purpose in your heart, I've got a warrior spirit, you just keep going. What about a servant heart? What about a fun, loving attitude? If you've ever flown Southwest, you know they can be so much fun to fly with. They can. They're very informal, very off the cuff, just fun, absolute fun. So my recommendation to you is begin to have some values that form your behavior. You know, warrior, servant heart. One that I gravitate towards absolutely is a fun, loving attitude. I find it hard not to have fun in what I do. I like being ridiculous. I like being goofy and fooling around because the subject matter I teach is difficult. But that's one of my values. One of my values is not to take myself too seriously. So what are your values? All of these are going to help your vision casting. Vision casting is very important for us post PMP, just so we can have direction. It could be a vision for your family, it could be a vision for your significant other, it could be a vision for your kids, it could be a vision for your company. Whatever that vision is, have a vision, right? And keep chasing it. So I use this formula, and this formula came about this week when I was trying to find a way to convey to you the importance of vision casting, because I've already done the whole year one with my PLI week group. And I realized that some of them needed some aids to be able to craft a solid vision. And then Edward reached out to me and I realized, yeah, you know, I need to put together the model, the formula that I've used so that it can capture the essence of how to do it. So I call this the do, through, who, to. You could call it DTWT, vision casting method. It's very simple. What do I do? Through what means do I do it? And who do I cater to? So you ask yourself that question. What do you do? I'm a project manager. Through what means do you do it? I do it through impeccable customer awareness, stakeholder service, servant leadership, project controls, whatever that thing is, right? And who do you cater to? For me, I love catering to the government for some reason. I don't know. It's just wired in my DNA. Men and women in uniform, and I heard Daryl was in the military. That excited me, and I said, the more reason why I'm going to help this guy to the ends of the earth, right? It's just an awakening in me, a buzz. I get excited. You know, I sometimes wish I could, you know, take up arms, be in the military. I'm too old for that. And I'm a UK citizen. It's probably like, okay, you know. So even though I'm a US person, I'm still a UK citizen. So I may not qualify, but I've volunteered. I did volunteer work for the United States Army Corps of Engineers. So I get that buzz. So when you ask, who do I cater to? You look at my list of clients, you see the FBI, NASA, US Army, Army Corps of Engineers, you know, US Air Force flew me out to Mildenhall. It's that buzz So who are the customers that are burning in your heart for you to reach? Who? And then what is the end result you want them to achieve is the question. So the DTWT approach, take it, frame it, run with it. Someone says, but Phil, I just got certified. That's the more reason why you need to know where you're going, because if there's no vision, you know what's going to happen, as the good book says, right? You're just going to be drifting. For me, I was a bit fortunate because I hadn't crafted this, obviously, in 2005, when I had a burning passion to work for one employer. There was only one employer that kept ringing in my head over and over again. And it was Honeywell. And I'm so glad I followed that buzz burning in my heart to work for them. I got rejected so many times. My resume probably wasn't even looked at. But one day it happened. I believe it's all vision. You know, having a solid vision is going to attract the right stuff. So I do A through B for C to D. So I do whatever it is through whatever means for whatever people to accomplish whatever that thing is. You know, one of my students said, Phil, I can relate to this. It's like a user story. I'm like, maybe it's one big old user story. However you can craft your definite chief aim, you know, what you do and who you're serving, just do it. So here's some examples. We coach professionals through real-world project leadership training to succeed in their projects. That's Praizion. We coach project professionals in leadership to succeed in business and life. That's PLI. We provide leadership coaching for project professionals to be a real success. That is going into year one for sure at PLI. So this is going to change, especially if you have different companies and different leanings and different focus. I'm a musician. My vision for music is different than this. But the definite chief aim for me in my music is to make people happy, to elevate their mood, right? So whatever your vision is, whatever you feel your vision is, I want you to use this simple approach to begin to nail down. You can start off with 30 words, and then you can narrow it down to as few as possible. Yeah, not to be prescriptive, but the fewer the better. The reason is, when it's few words, it anchors into people's heads and they don't forget, you know. So when you know your vision, my friends, you know which direction to grow towards, and you are propelled to sow seeds around that topic, around that environment or those variables that benefit others.